Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. This is everything you ever want. This is everything you ever need. And it's here, right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. This is fire. It's freedom. It's flooding open. This is the greatest show. Okay, after this introduction, we'll show you how to play Ring Circus, a game designed by Fabio Lopiano and Remo Consadori, with a beautiful art, as always, by Edu Weiss, and a solo mode by the king of board game loneliness, David Turks. Ring Circus is a game for 1 to 4 players that lasts between 45 and 75 minutes, depending on the number of players. And it takes us to the northeast of the United States in the 19th century, the golden age of traveling circuses, and you will be one of the directors of a circus, hiring different artists and performing in different cities, everything trying to be the most famous circus in the world. So let's take a look to what's inside in that box, and then we will show you how to play Ring Circus. The first thing you will find in the box are the rulebooks in different languages. Pay special attention to those pages here, the appendixes, because you have the explanation of all the cards involving the game, and pay special attention to the last page, because you have the gameplay and the icons involving the game. You have everything you need to play in this page, okay? You will find also the main board with the fame score track around it, and the northeast of United States divided in 5 different regions. Okay, here's another one. Each region has a main city, 2 medium cities, and 6 small towns. Okay, you have also some tiles to block different regions depending on the number of players. Now we have blocked that one, but we will see that. And you have also the medium city tiles with a preferred artist here that will grant you 2 extra pedestal points when you perform in this city, okay? We will see. Now it's just getting familiar to the components. Once we talk about the setup and how to play the game, we will see those things in detail, okay? You have also here the space for the cards. There are different cards in this game. So the first cards that you will find are the endgame scoring cards. Those cards has a different number of points you may win depending of some conditions and depending how many of those conditions you have accomplished. Okay, you have also the money cards. Those cards represent the basic artists that you may hire in your circus. In the upper left corner, you have the value of the artist and the value of money in case you want to discard this card to hire another artist, okay? Also, in the top left corner, top right corner, sorry, you have the type of the basic artist. There are 4 types. There are clowns, magicians, horse riders, and pets. And at the bottom of those cards, you have different abilities or bonuses that they will provide you. Usually, they have a pedestal here that will increase the value of your show in your circus. We'll see that. And they may have another pedestal that depends on other things that you may have in your board. And there are also some cards with a lining that will be used before performing a show to have a one-time benefit, okay? You have also the ticket cards. The composition of the cards are pretty similar to the other ones. In the upper left corner, you have the value of the card. In this case, you have also the type of the artist. Those are advanced artists, okay? They can be animals, that one with the orange. They can be spatial artists, those in purple, and the green-blue square are acrobats, okay? Those cannot be used to pay for others. Just the money cards can be used to pay to hire artists. And in the top of the right corner, you have a value on fame points that the card will provide you at the end of the game. So as you can see, there are two kinds of fame points. Those with the bucket are points that will be granted at the end of the game, and those that are the individual popcorn, like those that we have here, that we'll see now, those are immediate fame points that you will score immediately in the track. Okay, and also those cards, those special cards, the ticket cards at the bottom, they have some icons that may have some effect in your circus, like that one that has a pedestal, or some fame points for the end of the game that will be conditioned by other circumstances that you may have in your board. Okay. The last type of card that you can find here is the city card. Okay, you have city cards, and they have a required artist for those cities. That one in the middle is the artist that you need in order to perform here, the amount of points that you will get if you perform here, and they have also other artists that if they precede or follow the required artist, and if you have them in your board, they will grant you more fame points. Also, there are the spaces to place your circus token, so the sooner you perform in a city, the more points you will win. Talking about the main, the common elements of the game, those are all that you will find. You will have also the Barnum tile, okay, and the Barnum caravan. Those elements will trigger different scoring moments during the game. Okay, we'll see that. And if we take a look to each player's components, you have multiplied 4 times, obviously, one for each player. You have the main board, the player board, sorry, with the space for the end game scoring cards, those 3 spaces here. You have the track for the pedestal. That track is the value of your show. So the higher number you have here, the better your show will be, and the more benefits you will get when you perform. And you have your 3 rings of the circus. Those 3 rows, those are the places where you will play your artists. Some of those places has an icon on the top of them. Those icons will be involved in different things during the game. The trains allow you to move more in the board. The pedestals, as we said, those are the value of your show. And the money ones will allow you to draw more money cards when you perform. And they have also some symbols here. Those are benefits that you will get when you play an artist on top of those spaces. And also you have some benefits here when you complete a column, okay? Those are just to play an end scoring card, an in-game scoring card, or to get more points, anything. Also, each player has a pedestal token, a caravan, all those circus tokens, and a fame score token to track your score in the main board. So all those elements are the elements for the regular game, but for the solo mode, you have those elements here. Basically, you have 4 artist tiles, 1 movement token, okay, that will determine the movement of the automaton, and 2 decks, okay, one with a fortune teller, one with a toy monkey, and finally a tile that will determine the level of difficulty that you want to play. You can play in easy, medium, or hard mode. That's totally up to you, but we will talk about that when we talk about the solo mode. So now that we know everything that is involved in the game, it's time to put it all on the table and learn how to play 3 rings. The first thing you must do is to place the board at the center of the playing area, and then depending on the number of players, you will have more or less regions available. You will play with as many regions as players you are plus 1. So if you are 2 players, you will play with New York, Washington, and either Boston or Chicago, okay, or Indianapolis, sorry. If you are 3 players, either Boston or Chicago will be blocked. And obviously, if you are 4 players, all regions will be available. Here, as you can see, we are simulating a 3 players game. but we'll have just one personal board because we don't need to display all the others, because everything you need to know will be right here, okay? Once you have done that, take the end game scoring cards, shuffle all of them, and create a face down deck, and do the same with the money cards and the ticket cards, revealing the first 5 of the ticket cards and placing them on their spaces, okay? Take now all the medium city tiles, shuffle all of them, and randomly place one on each medium city spaces. And choose randomly also which side of the tile you will show. Okay, as we said before, those tiles will show which is the preferred artist of each city. Okay, and take also the city cards, the main city cards, shuffle all of them, and place at random one on each city. Okay. For the main components in the board, that's everything you need to know. Then each player must take their material, their personal board, and all their components. Place the pedestal on the number 1, okay? Because actually you have just one pedestal at the moment here, okay? The more pedestals you have, you will increase the track. Then take your circus tokens, your caravan, and finally deal to each player 1 ticket card, 1 end game scoring cards, and 4 money cards. Choose now who's going to be the first player, okay, and give to the player to their right the Barnum style, okay, showing the Barnum side, not the popcorn side, okay. And finally place Barnum's caravan on Boston. If Boston is not in the game, then place it in New York. Okay, Boston. And with that, everything is ready to start playing through Ring Circus. You must know that for a 2-player game, you must place circuses from a neutral color, okay, in order to count for the majority. So you have to place 6 circuses, 1 on each main city, because you are 2 players, you will play with 3 regions, so 1 on each main city in the rightmost space, okay, those here, and the other 3 will be placed in small towns that are indicated here in the rulebook, okay, depending on the region, then is one town or the other. And with that, everything's ready and we can start playing through Ring Circus. A game of Ring Circus is played with players alternating turns following clockwise, choosing between the 2 available actions in the game, and triggering different scorings during the game until the end of the game. That will happen once Barnum's caravan makes an entire loop and comes back to the starting city. That will trigger the last region score, and then will be time for the final score, okay? So, basically, in your first turn, you must engage one artist. So, the first thing that you must do is to engage an artist, okay? We will explain that in a moment, but that's the thing, okay? And place your caravan in an available main city, so a main city without any caravan. So we cannot place it in Boston because Barnum is here, so let's say we place it in New York. So the first turn of each player will be doing that, and from now on, in all your other turns, you must choose between engaging an artist or performing a show. Those are the only available actions in this game. So let's take a closer look to those actions to know how they work, okay? If you want to engage an artist, that action allows you to play one of the cards you have on your hand in your circus, okay? To do so, you must place it in one of the rows, okay? Let's imagine that we are like this, okay? You must place it in one of the rows, knowing that the value of your artist must increase from left to right, and no number can be repeated in the same row. So if you want to play another 3, it cannot be played in the same row, it must be placed in another row, okay? Also, you have to pay for that artist, okay? If the value is 3, remember, you have to discard a total number of money cards with a total value of at least the value of this card. So we can discard a 3, but if we had not a 3, and we have to pay with a 5, for example, okay, you must know that there's no change here, so extra money will be lost, okay? So you pay by discarding the money card, and then the card is placed here. As we said before, when we were checking the components, all those basic artists, they have a pedestal down here, okay? So when you place the card, you must update immediately the pedestal tracking, okay? So we have one pedestal here, one, number 2. Also, some cards will affect previous card that you have. For example, here, that one will give us a pedestal for each animal that follows this card. So if in another turn we play an animal here, we will win one extra pedestal, okay? So that's the thing. And it's also important to remember the different bonuses that are here, okay? Now we have placed that card here, so there's no bonus here. But let's imagine that we play another card. All those are 5 now, okay? And for example, this one, number 4, here, okay, by paying amount, okay, that allows us to draw a new money card, okay? Symbols here are very easy to understand, but it's basically drawing certain kind of card, placing a new card, swapping cards between 2 different rows, and winning more points. And as we said before, if we manage to complete a column, with the first 3 columns, we can play one of our end-game scoring cards. It's also important what we said before, that the value of the numbers will increase from left to right. So let's imagine that the first card that we played was a 5. Okay, why not? And now we are playing a 3. Then you have to rearrange the cards, okay? Just put it this way. That's it. But the first one will be always placed in the leftmost space, and when you place the new ones, they will be rearranged. Also, that's important, if you play a card in a row where you have other cards, you don't have to pay the total value of the new card that you're playing. You have to pay the difference between the value of the card and the highest value you have in this row. So, for example, if we have the number 3 and we want to play a 5, we just have to pay 2. Okay, that's the difference between the 5 and the 3. And from now on, we have a 5 here. So if we want to place a higher card, like for example, at the 9, let's imagine that that one is on our hand. If you want to play the number 9, okay, you just have to pay 4, because it's the difference between the 9 and the highest number that we have here, that is 5. But that's in the same row, okay? If we play the 9 here, you have to pay the 9. Okay, so that's it. Because we have placed that one has a pedestal icon, we have to update it, and that's also an animal, so we have one extra pedestal here. So now we have 4 pedestals, and that's the engaging an artist action, okay? But as we said before, there's another action. If you don't want to play a card, you have the option to perform a show. And to perform a show, you must follow those steps. First, move your caravan in the board. Second, perform the show. And third, move Barnum's caravan. So let's see those steps, okay? To move first, you may move up to a number of spaces equal to the number of train icons you have on your board. In our case, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, that one is covered here. While the game advances and you place more cards in your circus, some of those icons will be covered, but that one will be always available, so you will move always at least one space if you want, okay? So a number of spaces, up to a number of spaces equal to the number of train icons that you have in your board, as we said, in the direction of your choice, okay? Here or here. And if during your movement you find a circus token, you must skip it. And if you arrive to a city with a caravan, you may skip it if you want. You don't have to, you can stop in a place with another caravan, but if you want, you may skip it. All those spaces that you skip, those that are mandatory and those that you choose, won't count for the movement, okay? So let's imagine that the one is here, we can move 4, so let's say 1, 2, 3, and we stop here, okay? And then, once we have moved, it's time to perform. As you know, because we say it, there are 3 different town cities in each region, okay? The small towns, the medium city, and the main cities. So you have 3 different places where you can perform. And you can perform only once on each specific place, okay? So for example, red player has played in Bridgeport, so that place is not available for us now, okay? But let's say that we want to play in Syracuse now, okay? That's a small town. If you want to perform in a small town, there are no requirements. You just play the show there, and you will win 1 money card for the place where you're going to perform, and 1 extra money card for each town which is in direct contact without a circus token on it. That means that those fellas are coming to the town to see the show, okay? So in our case, we'll win 1 card for Syracuse and 3 for those regions that are connected, those towns that are connected to this one. So we'll draw 4 cards. And you will also draw after performing, it doesn't matter where, if it's a small town, medium city, or main city, you will draw as many money cards as money symbols you have on your board, okay? So in this case, we have 1, but there are other cards that may give you more of those icons, more pedestals, of course, or even more trains. So that's the thing, we will draw those cards. And finally, we will place 1 of our circus tokens to make Syracuse unavailable to perform for any player, okay? That's the first one. The second place where we can perform is in a medium city, let's say Buffalo. Okay, if you want to perform in a medium city, you want to have as many pedestals as possible, because the more pedestals you have, the higher rewards you will get, okay? It's important to remember that those medium cities, they have a preferred artist, that if you have at least 1 of those artists in your circus, they will give you 2 extra pedestals for your show. Your show will be better because they want magicians, for example, in Buffalo. Because we have 1 magician here, we'll have 2 pedestal points, sorry. But that's just if you have at least 1. It's not 2 pedestals for each magician you have, okay? So let's say that we are performing in Buffalo. We have 4 pedestals because of the cards and symbols that we have right here, plus 2 just for this time. Also, before performing anywhere, you can play 1 of your lining cards for a one-time benefit. In this case, that one is useless because it gives us 1 pedestal for each acrobat, and we have no acrobats. But there are other cards that will allow you to draw more money cards, or will give you more victory points. Or, well, for example, that one, it gives us two monies to draw, or just more pedestals of things that you have, okay? But that's, you play it before the perform, and then you discard the card, okay? And that's it. Then, once you have performed here, you must place 1 of your circus tokens in an available space with a total value equal or lower to the value of pedestals you have. We say that we have 4 plus 2, 6 pedestals. We are playing Buffalo, so we can place it in the number 5, not in the 7, because we have just 6 pedestals. Okay, place it in the 5. If the 5 was occupied, we can place it in the 3 or even in the 1. Okay, but if you have no place that matches the number of your pedestals, you cannot perform in this town. Okay, let's imagine that all those 3 spaces were occupied, we cannot perform in Buffalo. Okay, but once you place your circus token, then you take the reward. With higher number, you must choose between immediate fame points or drawing ticket cards. If you draw ticket cards, you can draw them immediately from the display that you have here. You take 1 or 2, or you can draw it immediately from those in the deck without knowing which card it is, okay? And that's the end. Obviously, like every other performance, at the end of the performance, you will draw money cards, as many of them as money symbols you have on your board. Okay, so 1. And the third place where you can perform is in the main cities. Let's say that we want to perform in New York, for example. In order to perform in a main city, you need the required artist of this city. You need it in your personal board. If you don't have it, like us, that we don't have an animal worth 10, the elephant, we cannot play it here, okay? But let's imagine that we have the elephant. Where is it? Okay, let's imagine that we have the elephant here, so we may perform in New York. So if you perform here, that's the number of points you will obtain if you perform here, okay? And if in the same row the required artist is preceded and or followed by a certain type of artist, in this case there's no number needed, just the type of artist, okay? So let's imagine that we have our elephant here and is followed by this one. You may obtain extra points, okay? So in our case it will be 6 for the elephant and 5 because it's followed by a purple artist here, okay? So once you have performed here, just place your circus token in the leftmost available space in the city. So the sooner you perform here, the more points you will obtain. And obviously now obtain as many, draw as many money cards as money icons you have on your board. And that's it. That's what's happening in performing. You have here the explanation of each kind of performance, okay? Draw money cards, depending on the number of pedestals and the victory points, etc., etc. And always remember to draw the money cards according to the number of money icons you have on your board. And that's it. Once you have performed, then it's time to the Barnum's Caravan to move, okay? Barnum's Caravan will move one space, okay, counterclockwise following the outer route here, okay? So he will make that travel, so we'll move on. And it will move after each performance. It doesn't matter if it's in a small town, in a medium city, or in a big city, okay? Each time it will move. If Barnum finds a circus token, it will skip those circus tokens. The caravan will skip those. Okay, so from here it will go here. Okay, and the caravan will follow this way until it reaches a main city. When the caravan arrives to a main city, it will stop there, and the player with Barnum's style will flip it, showing the popcorn side. Okay, and at the end of this player turn, the player who has the Barnum's tile, not before, just at the end of that player turn, a region score will happen. Okay, so when that player, we continue play, and when that player finish their turn, sorry, then we will score for that region. And how are we going to score for the region? Let's say that we are here in New York. It will be easier. He will score for majorities, okay? So the player with more circus tokens here will score 10 points, the second 6, and the third will score 3 points, okay? In case of tie, tie will solve in the following way. The winner will be the player who performed first in the main city, okay? If no player has performed in the main city, then the winner will be the player who has more points in a medium city. And if no player performed in a medium city, the winner will be the one who performed in a town directly connect with the main city. And if the tie persists, okay, let's imagine that 2 players have performed here, then the winner will be the one who performed in the closer town following clockwise. So in this case, the red one, okay, let's imagine that those are not here, the red one will be the winner. So as you can see, we won no ties in this game. Okay. And that's it. Those are the 2 actions you have: engage an artist or perform in a place, perform a show in a place. After your turn, just refill the market. Okay, if you draw on a card, just play a new one, and discard cards if you have more than 10. So you cannot have more than 10 cards, so discard down to 10. If at some point one of the decks runs out of cards, just take the ones in the discard, shuffle them, and create a new deck, okay? And that's it. You will continue this way, okay? Choosing between 2 actions, engaging artists or performing, and triggering region scores until the end of the game, that, as we say, will happen once Barnum reaches its starting scene. So as we were saying, once Barnum's Caravan reaches its starting city again, the last region score will be triggered. Okay, you will score for that region, and then players will score the final points. Okay, which is basically the points on their artist in their circus board. Okay, those on the top and those at the bottom of the card. Okay, and the end game scoring cards, but just those that were played on the board. If you still have one in your hand, you won't score for that card. And after adding all those points, the player with more fame points will win the respect of Mr. Barnum, and more importantly, will win the game. There are also a couple of variants in this game, with Barnum starting in different cities and traveling clockwise and counterclockwise, but we're not going to explain those. Just if you want some variety, check them on the rule book and just try them. What we're going to explain a little bit is the solo mode. In the solo mode, your classic circus will compete against a modern automaton circus for the heart of the Americans. Okay, so the setup is exactly the same as for a two-players game. Okay, blocking some of the spaces, removing those end game scoring cards that are related to those regions, and placing the neutral circus tokens in the indicated spaces. Your setup will be exactly the same as for a two-players game, but the automaton will be a little bit different. Okay, so take the automaton board that is at the other side of the player board, as you can see. Place the pedestal on the number 2, the movement train on the number 6, shuffle the artist tiles and place them face down here in their matching spaces, and choose the level of difficulty. If you want the green one with easier one, the white medium, or the harder one in red. Okay, the level of difficulty will affect some effects of the cards, and also how the automaton will score at the end of the game. Finally, take the two decks, shuffle them separately, and place the fortune teller cards here. Those are the starting cards for the automaton, and save the toy monkey cards for later. Okay, and with that, everything is ready to start playing the solo mode. For the first turn, well, your first turn will be as usual, okay, but the automaton will always place first. So you will have Barnum tile, okay, and the automaton on their first turn will flip the first artist tile and place their caravan in the main city of the next scoring region. Okay, so remember, if Barnum is going this way, the first region that you will score is Washington DC, so the automaton will place their caravan in Washington DC, and that was the automaton's first turn. Okay, you in your first turn will do the same, so engage an artist and place it in the remaining main city, and then you can start properly the game. During the automaton turn, you will play as normal, but the automaton will just reveal the first card of their deck. Okay, and there are two different actions that the automaton may perform according to the cards. Okay, there are artist actions that actually there are two kinds of artist cards. Okay, those make reference just to reveal the next artist and move one step up the pedestal. That's all. That's an easy one. Okay, there are three cards like those, and the other artist action you may find is this one. This is just to engage an artist. That card allows the automaton to take a card from the market and create a single row of artists, again increasing the value from left to right. Okay, but just one single row. And which artist will the automaton engage? It's easy. First, it will choose an artist that is a required artist of one of the main cities, okay? Or an 8 here, or an animal of 10, or the elephants, or the 11 or the lion. For example, here we have the 8. That's the one that the automaton will take, okay? If there's more than one option, let's imagine that you have the 8 and there's also an elephant, an animal with a 10, then the automaton will choose the one of the city that will score first, okay? Remember that that one goes counterclockwise, so it will take first the elephant instead of this one here, of the flamethrower. So the thing, but if there are no required artists in the market, then the next option is to draw the artist shown on the automaton card, okay? That will mean a purple artist. Which one? If there's more than one, the one with the higher number. For example, we will take this one, the 12, okay? But if there are no purple artists here, the next step is to take the artist with the higher number on the market. If there's more than one choice, then the automaton will take the leftmost one. And that doesn't happen a lot, but it may happen. If all the artists that are in the market are already in the circus of the automaton, okay, if all the numbers are already here, then it won't take anyone because we cannot repeat the numbers. So the two rightmost cards will be discarded, okay? Then you must slide those 3 here and reveal 2 new ones. And if after doing that, all the artists, the new ones obviously, not the other ones because they were already here, but if the new artists are already in the automaton circus, then just take the card, shuffle it back in the deck, and reveal a new card and perform that action. And those are the artist actions. The other actions that the automaton may perform are those here, those with the hat, that those actions are simply to perform a show. First of all, the automaton will perform in a region where it doesn't have the majority, the winner majority, okay? That's the first thing. If there's a tie, the automaton will perform in the main city, if it can, following the path of Mr. Barnum. So he will try to perform here in Washington if he can, if he has an animal. If not, and if there's a tie, he will score, as we said, in the closer to Barnum. Okay. If there's a tie, or if he cannot perform in a main city, then the automaton will perform in a medium city for at least 5 pedestals. Okay. And if there's a tie, if it has multiple choices, in this case, okay, it may perform in both places, he will choose the medium city where the automaton will get more pedestals, okay, so maybe because it has the main artist, the preferred artist, and will win the fame points, okay. The automaton won't take any ticket card. And if he cannot perform in this medium city because it cannot reach those 5 pedestal points, it will score in a small town, okay? Just in the next small town that is ahead on Barnum's track, okay? So if, let's say that he has to perform here because he doesn't have the majority, the first one that will Barnum find is that one, so he will perform here. In this case, the automaton won anything, okay? He doesn't get money tickets, but at least he will place one circus token for the majorities. Also, if there's a tie in small towns, he will perform in the one that provides more money by the performance, even if the automaton won't take that money, okay? And that's it. That's the automaton turn. He will place, and he will continue that way until the first score, okay? Once Barnum reaches this space, you will flip the Barnum style because you have it, because you are the second player, and after your turn, you will score for the region, and after scoring for the region, you will give the Barnum tile to the automaton, and then the automaton will remove the fortune teller cards, and we'll play from now on with the toy monkey cards, okay? And that's it. You will continue this way, taking your turn, and then the automaton doing this until the end of the game, where you will score as normal, and the automaton will score for the fame points on their artist in their show, those at the end, okay? The ones at the top and the ones at the bottom. And the automaton doesn't have end game scoring cards, okay? Instead of that, the automaton will score nothing in the easy mode, will score 1 fame point for each artist tile he has played, and in the medium one, and in the hardest one he will score 2 points for each artist card, okay? And at the end of the game, and after doing all those math, if you have more points than the automaton, well, congratulations, you have demonstrated that classical is always better than those strange animatronic things. And that's it. That's 3 Ring Circus, a majority game with just 2 actions, but with much more possibilities to score than just the majorities, and where 2 actions give you a lot of choices and depth to the game. We hope you enjoyed the game, and remember, keep playing. Bye.